Extinction is the latest map to release on Ark Survival Ascended, and this map comes with all new challenges like dangerous meteor showers that will rain down destruction, corrupted dinos that will attack you relentlessly, and gigantic titans capable of wiping out even the strongest of armies. So of course, I will be spending 100 days in this paradise, building myself a Wasteland Bandit Camp of sorts, and attempting to take down the fearsome King Titan. So with all of that said, let's not waste any more time, let's get into it. My journey on Extinction would begin by spawning into the easternmost side of the map's city region, Sanctuary. And like any Ark spawn, I would immediately begin picking every bush I could find before getting distracted by the existence of a simple glass bridge. I would like to make my way to the... oh, well, that's cool. Oh my gosh, look at that. We can see below us. That's pretty cool. I like that. I'm a fan. Speaking of getting distracted, this game has had me absolutely hooked lately. Whether it be while sitting passenger princess on the way to the store, or hiding from my family for 45 minutes in the bathroom, I have been really enjoying this game. Especially seeing the endless amount of unique dungeons and bosses, as well as becoming engaged with the fully fleshed out story they've created. The graphics are AAA quality, and the gameplay is challenging and rewarding. And today, they've hooked me up with some sweet deals to pass along to you. Epic and legendary heroes, all free, to help you get kickstarted on your journey through their latest of many global events, Alice's Adventure. That's right, they are currently running a global event inspired by the classic tale of Alice's adventures in Wonderland. Right now, you can get the legendary champion Alice the Wanderer for absolutely free, as well as a ton of other loot simply by opening the game on 14 different days. Be quick though, as you must start by March 26 to get her this way. And if that's not enough, here comes some more juicy loot for you. All you have to do is use my code in the description or pinned comment, or simply scan the QR code on your screen. And as soon as you sign up with my link, you will get the epic champion Drake, a lizard man much like the creatures we're about to tame here in Ark. Then after reaching level 15, which you can easily do just by playing the campaign, you'll get another starter pack that includes another epic champion, TALLIA. But remember, you only get these champions by using my link. And finally, after downloading the game with my link, you can also use the promo code Monkey King to get the legendary champion Sun Wukong for free. But this offer ends with February, so be fast. And while you're there, come find me in game under the username ChipsYT and join my clan, the Bag of Chips. I hope to see you all in game. Distraction over, I would find a single rock sitting in the open who I would pick up and name Philip, and then it was back to the normal routine of punching a tree for some thatch, which I would use to craft my first stone pickaxe. Then before I could even get a hatchet crafted, a pteranodon would startle me as it flew over my head, and I would soon see exactly why it was running. Oh my gosh, Cardo! Yep, I'm dead. Respawning, I would come to a very tranquil looking area where a Rex would quickly ruin the moment of peaceful serenity. Oh, I like this. Oh. Oh, I like this, T-Rex. I would manage to avoid the Rex though, and soon enough I came up on the ruins of a dome or arena of sorts where I would quench my thirst in what I can only assume was at one point a fish pond. I'm no health expert, but I'm pretty sure drinking sitting water that's been untreated for who knows how long is probably not too good for your health. Moving on, I would make my way onto a nearby bridge that I thought might make for a good starter spot since it's up out of the way and it's not covered in 5-foot tall grass. Then it was back to gathering the basics when, surprise surprise, I was once again thirsty. So I took a dive in one of the nearby rivers for the first of probably 100 times.
Ooh, a beaver.
Good to see beavers again. I haven't seen a beaver in a while. World rats I guess are good, but I haven't seen, I prefer beavers for my, you know. Then halfway through the first day, I had finally achieved the unimaginable, a stone pickaxe and a hatchet. With my new powerful tools, it was back to gathering, and for this playthrough, I'm only doing 30-minute days instead of my normal hour-long days, so I've churned up the rates to match that. Next, it was time to start wiping out any and every dodo I could find, except of course the kiddos. While taking out the dodos, I would spot a poor little armored doggo who had fallen into the river, so it was back to find those baby dodos, but apparently they knew I was coming and they had all gone to hide, except for this one dude who apparently just decided to end it all himself in the river. Returning to the doggo, I would offer it some delicious baby dodo, but this doggo had only violence on its mind, picking a fight with a nearby enforcer and losing. On a positive note, I would spot a low-level moss chops across the river who only wanted one tinto berry for taming, and she would be my first love. I would use and abuse her to start gathering tons of fiber, which I would turn into my first set of cloth armor, and then I would reskin that with a mixture of the Wasteland DLC skins. And now we have ourselves looking like a proper Wasteland warrior. Next, I began crafting up a few thatch pieces for my initial base when I would run into a level 120 Ankylosaurus. Before I could even admire it though, a pack of doggos would jump all over it. I would simply sit back and watch as the doggos tore through the Yankee and then into a Triceratops in hopes to tame one of them afterwards. But I wasn't exactly aware the dogs are not entirely friendly. Oh, they do attack. I thought, oh crap, I thought they were friendly. Oh, well,
dude's going down. Yep, there goes my first love. Oh, so they killed your tames, but they won't attack you. So I'm just hanging around while these things are just waiting to kill me.
And so I started trying to tame one with just raw meat. This wasn't going to work, however, as the taming effectiveness would begin to tank. Soon after that, a meteor shower would begin raining down on the earth, setting the scene for an epic battle with an ant. Luckily, we would be safe from the meteors beneath the somehow still functioning shield of Sanctuary. And so with hopes of still taming a doggo, I began searching the area for any creatures with babies, but having no luck, I decided to return to the bridge to begin setting up my starter spot, with my initial plan being to just sort of wall off each side of it. Back on the hunt, I would find a baby pig that would give me the meat needed for the dogs. But upon returning to the arena area, I was greeted by a family of dillos who would very rudely spit on me, nearly resulting in a pretty embarrassing death. After dealing with them, I would find the dogs down the river chasing around a scout droid.
Oh, they're attacking the thing. He's trying to get the... Leave the robot alone, dude. You can't get it. It's in the air. They're like actual dogs. They're just barking at the dang drone.
And while watching them trying to chase it and it trying to drown itself, I spotted a mysterious package floating in the water and decided to jump in to investigate. It turned out to be a scout droid, and then I was reminded why you don't just randomly jump in the water.
Oh, we're dead.
I would return to find the Capro had likely been dealt with by the dogs, allowing me to retrieve what little bit of stuff I had. Then, realizing that nothing's really been making its way up the ramp to our base, I figured I could just take down the walls and build a small platform instead, and got a fire down so I could stop eating raw meat. And while here, I upgraded my armor to hide, as well as crafting up a bow and some bolas. Back out and about, I somehow chopped down a metal light post using just a stone pickaxe, which would give me some crystal, and I would use that to craft a spyglass. Then I got my hands dirty again picking some more fiber, which I would use to craft myself a comfy spot to sleep, as well as a small bundle of arrows. At this point though, I was already starting to get sick of running all the way up the bridge to reach my base, so after placing down my bed, I added a few more foundations and a ceiling to create an overhang, which I would drop a ladder down from, except that these random vines were somehow blocking the ladder placement. I would fix it though, and now we have a faster way up to our base. Of course, in typical fashion, I completely ignored the flashing red icon saying that I'm thirsty and would pass out from doing all of this.
And then... That's not gonna be in the video.
Are you sure about that?
Then after once again quenching my thirst in the river, I would head home to see a bastard seagull was now circling above my base. A few well-placed shots and this chicken was cooked. Next up, I crafted my first mortar and pestle, and now short on hide, I found one little piggy who would not be making it to the market and used its hide to craft my first forge. My forge was hungry though, and so it was into the city to find some metal to feed it. And on the way home, I would spot a pair of Ankylosaurus, but as I went to check their levels, I was rudely interrupted by an Archaeopteryx mother.
Oh! Hey, what? What did I do? Existing is a crime for me. Yeah, guess what, buddy? You're gonna regret your decisions.
It would turn out that one of the Ankylosaurs was a 145, but I'll have to come back for that later. Back home, I started cooking up some of that delicious metal, used that to get myself a smithy, and then I had just enough left to craft my first metal pick. I would use my new and improved pick to farm some more light posts in hopes of some easy metal, but honestly, these were not given the amount I would have expected. I mean, it's a literal beam of metal. I would think it would give just a little bit more. So instead, I headed back towards the city for some more metal, when I would spot a low-level parasaur that I figured would help get our berry harvesting moving. So I crafted myself a nice little beat stick full of the parasaur, and then proceeded to smack the shit out of its face. And towards the end of day 3, our parasaur had finished taming. Of course, our new tame would need a saddle, and so I was back to the bacon factory for more hide, and I got it crafted up. I would then begin using our new parasaur to start farming narcoberries, as well as splitting stacks of raw meat to spoil it quickly. With a good amount of both now on hand, it was time to grab an explorer note I had spotted just down the ramp of our bridge, and then I began mass crafting narcotics, and with that, my drug empire and levels were on the rise. Next, I laid my pipe in the river to start getting water to base, and upon climbing back up the ladder, I had a new friend waiting for me.
Oh, well, you're just asking for it, brother. You're just asking for it. And you're a 120. You couldn't be asking for it any more than you already are.
So of course, I would tie it up with a bola and began giving it the club treatment, but unfortunately, my swings were not quite strong enough, and it would break free.
Stop hitting me with your beak and go down. No!
Bye, have a great time.
Probably could have just made trank arrows really quick. I literally could have just made trank arrows. I'm such an idiot.
I was feeling like a bit of a dum-dum, but if there's one thing dumber than me, it's our parasaur. Derp. Still in desperate need of metal, but too lazy to go back to the city, I started cracking open some river rocks. But then I realized if I wanted to craft a water tank, I would need paste, and so it was into the city anyways to hunt down and stomp out a spider for its chitin. I would use that to make the paste, and with that, I now had a water tank on my bridge. Next, I got the metal I gathered from the river cooking up, and then used that to craft myself a crossbow, crafted up some trank arrows, and still salty about the Pteranodon getting away, I headed out in search of another one. While out searching, I stumbled on another metal rock, and now with my new metal pick, I had to stop to farm it up. And not too far off from that, I spotted the level 120 Pteranodon that escaped me back on day 3, and with a few quick arrows, it was down. Nearby, I would spot a spider, and considering I'll need chitin for making a PT saddle, I figured I might as well start farming it. Little did I know, this spider was simply playing the bait, as 2 Carnos would soon come to its rescue.
Oh, but he's not stronger than that Carno. No, come on, don't do this to me. No, don't do this. Oh my gosh. Run!
But I was too wet and slippery for them, as I would jump up onto the ledge and scamper away to safety.
Woo, woo.
It was over now, as I had the high ground, but we were now back to 0 tames, and the hopes of taming that Pteranodon is basically gone. But everything happens for a reason, as back in the arena, I would spot a high-level Triceratops, using the ledges to outsmart and outmaneuver the beast, and before long, I had it on the run.
Don't run now that we're getting to know each other. Too smooth for you, buddy.
Of course, with Derp dead, I would have to gather berries by hand, and there I was, minding my business, when a Carno would come charging in after our trike. And then it just sorta sniffed the trike and just ran away.
Yeah, you better run.
I would hang around the trike in the fear of the Carno showing back up, and while here found a corner full of metal tables that I would harvest for more metal. But instead of the Carno showing back up, I would be visited by a level 135 and a level 150 Ankylosaurus. With the metal I gathered off the tables, I would craft up my first metal hatchet, and with that I would collect some more hide, allowing me to craft a saddle for our trike. It would finish taming towards the end of the day, and this fella sure is lucky. And with Lucky now on the squad, our berry gathering business was really starting to take off. And speaking of luck, mine would continue to churn for the better, as not too long after taming Lucky, another Pteranodon would land for a rest on another nearby bridge. This one being a level 135, I of course had to knock it out. But just outside of the arena, I spotted a pack of raptors going to town on a scout droid, and not wanting to risk them finding the PT, I got involved, nearly killing my trike in the process.
I don't know why I did this. I feel like it's a bad idea. I feel like that thing's gonna snitch on me, even though I saved its life. I also don't know if like my dude's even up for this fight. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose this trike. Why did I do this? Oh my gosh, what a dummy. Why did I just do that?
So with Lucky not doing so well, I decided to drop him off at home to rest up some. And as I returned to the arena, I would find a family of dodo birds, and yeah, well, I mean, we needed prime meat. I mean, look, the PT, it's gotta eat. Next, I turned my attention back on the 150 Anky we spotted the day prior. My goal was to lure it up onto our bridge. That way, it's at least somewhat out of the way of any bad guys showing up. Of course, doing this meant the 135 would want to get involved as well, but they simply were no match for my sweet juke moves.
It slid that juke right on through.
And before long, the 150 was knocked out. As that went down, the PT was getting up, and this goddess on the mountaintop is Bananarama. And then, even though we had the Anky somewhat up on the bridge, I still didn't feel safe with things like this Carno lurking about. So I crafted up some wooden spikes and set up a small blockade at the bottom of the ramp to at least make things more challenging. I was still short, however, on chitin to make the PT saddle, and so, unable to find any bugs within a safe distance, I decided to settle for taking out turtles for keratin. Then, somehow in the thick of the bush, I spotted one little poop bug all by his lonesome.
The fact that dung beetles get involved, they don't stray away. Why should they? I mean, look at this beast. It's coming at me.
I probably should have considered taming this guy, but at this point, I felt like getting that PT saddle was more important. And that little beetle would in fact give me enough to get the saddle crafted up, and now we have liftoff, which going from aberration to extinction makes this moment 1,000 times more rewarding. Now with the Pteranodon to carry us through the skies, I immediately set my sights on finding a replacement for it. So I gathered up some quick materials for making a trap, and it was off to the Green Obelisk to find an Argentavis, stopping briefly along the way to take out some spiders because I need chitin. I always need more chitin. Before long, we were there, and I would almost immediately spot a level 70 Argent. I decided to pass on that one, and after searching for a little longer, I was rewarded with a double up, a level 140, flying close to the base of the obelisk. So we gave it a little poke to see if it was feeling up for some fun, and lured it up to one of the rooftops to knock it out. Of course, as always, I would use a trap designed by our good friend Captain Fat Dog. I'll leave his video linked in the description. Make sure you go and show him some love. But before I could even begin knocking the Argent out, a defense unit came rolling in from literally the other side of the map. I would try to get this thing distracted and off the Argent, but that dude really just hated the bird. Eventually, I managed to get its attention on me, drew it down a ledge, and eventually off the side of the building. There was another one nearby though, fighting with the turtle, so taking no chances, I gave the turtle a helping hand, and we quickly turned it to scrap, which of course I would harvest for some great resources. With the coast clear, it was back to knocking out the Argent, and apparently with the extinction update, they actually added a headshot multiplier to them, which makes it much easier. But the Argent had taken some damage when it was fighting the droid, so not wanting to risk killing it, I took down a nearby parasaur with my pick. Chip's food delivery service was once again here to save the day, feeding the Argent its corpse to heal it up some, and before long, the bird was down. I would find a dodo on a nearby rooftop with a baby, and that baby would give me all the prime meat I needed for taming the Argent. While waiting on it to tame, I went ahead and got all the hide together that I would need for both the Anki and the Argent saddle, and while doing that, I spotted another pack of Armadogos. Unfortunately, the dodo prime meat was already all on the Argent, but luckily for me, I found a nearby pig who also had a baby, and so I would chase it down like a madman for its prime. With the prime meat now lining my pockets, I returned to where I had spotted the doggos, making sure to park Bananarama far enough away to avoid getting their aggro, and then tossed out some of that juicy bacon.
One of you is gonna sniff my meat, and you're gonna like it.
What?
Soon enough, the doggo was tamed, and its friend would immediately forget all about how they grew up together, all of their shared life experiences, and all the plans they had made for their future as it started attacking my newly tamed friend.
Oh crap, I don't want to get involved. Oh, I was just kidding. Yeah, I was just kidding.
We got our good girl safely back with the Argent, and of course, named her Lassie. Within seconds, the Argent would finish taming as well, and now came the slow journey back home.
Is Lassie trying to follow me? Oh, poor Lassie. Lassie, what are you doing?
I would arrive to find the Ankylosaurus had finished taming also, and we gave it our classic name, Pincushion. And with day 8 coming to an end, we named our silver feathered Argent Gibbs. Again, needing more chitin, cause like I said, I always need chitin. I headed back out into the upper levels of the city, where I would find a spider fighting an Anki that I would then harvest. Oh my gosh, I'm one short. What a joke. One chitin short. Luckily, we would find another spider nearby, and even though Lassie harvested it, wasting precious chitin, we still had enough. Then it was back to our favorite source of leathery flesh, and before long, I was crafting a saddle for my Argent. And now with my Argent saddled, hide was a problem of the past, and soon enough, my Anki was saddled as well. Of course, this meant I would need to immediately take the Anki out for a metal farming run, carrying it in the Argent, allowing it to auto harvest. You know, not using the saddle at all. Metal on Extinction is pretty spread out, but I did find a little tunnel near our base that had plenty of rocks for harvesting, and before long, we had a nice chunk of metal farmed up. Back home, I took out a few low-level Brontos around base for their hide, crafted up a sickle because I was sick and tired of gathering fiber with my fingers, and then smashed those mats together with some stone and flint I had left over on the Anki to craft 4 more forges. Using some more leftover stone, I crafted up some cementing paste and used that to craft a water jar, you know, the basic stuff players do early on so they don't have to keep running to a river for water. A quick wood run after that, and all of the metal we've gathered is now cooking up nicely. Next, I spoiled a bunch more meat, and after a massive narcoberry run with Lucky, I crafted up some more mortar and pestles with some more of our leftover stone, grabbed another explorer note, and it was back to crafting a bunch of narcotics that we're gonna need, but also for some more early levels. Using those narcotics, I would craft up some more trank arrows, and then it was back out looking for some of our early tames. Just up the river, I would spot a few beaver dams, but unfortunately, there were no beavers to be seen. On the bright side though, this gave me a chance to easily loot the dams, with an Ichthyornis taking it upon itself to defend them, sending Gibbs into a fit and leaving me exposed to the possibility of being caproed. Luckily, I was able to whistle Gibbs to passive, and it was back to the skies. Apparently, there was a second dam behind that one, and so we looted it as well. Then, while farming a tech parasaur, because honestly, I just hate the look of them, so anytime I see one, I try to take it out, I spotted a level 130 Megaloceros, so I scooped it up and took it back to the bridge. Hit it with Ebola, quickly put a foundation under it so it wouldn't fall through the ground, got it knocked out, and went ahead and fed it. But with some more feisty things still left to tame, I decided to craft up a more professional drop trap to make my life a little easier, and then headed deeper into the city to another lake in search of a beaver. The first one I spotted was a level 90, before spotting a level 120 who would unfortunately be killed by a baryonyx. So I headed off to another much larger lake, and this one was loaded up with beavers. The first one I spotted was a 135, but it was pretty far down in the water, so I scooped up a level 25, dangled it over the water attacking it, and used that to bait the 135 up and out. It of course couldn't resist taking the bait, and so now on land, I scooped it up and we headed home. We would return to find our deer had finished taming, so it was in with the beaver and out with the deer. I then went ahead and crafted up a saddle for our new friend, John. Then it was time to load the beaver's face up with arrows until it took a nice little nap. Of course, because their torpor absolutely flies down, I would have to stick around to feed it some narcotics. So in the meantime, I got a cooking pot down, used it to craft up some red dye and med brews, used the dye to turn the mohawk on my armor red in proper Chips fashion, and then used the med brews to craft up a med pack for my companion. I would go to equip Lassie with it, and god dang, she has got some levels for absolutely no reason. Before I would realize that I can't actually equip the med pack without armor. I would go to make the armor, but unfortunately it takes polymer to make it. So after pumping the beaver full of drugs, I headed out to the Wasteland for the first time. Of course, I was out here to farm corrupted dinos I could harvest for their corrupted nodules, which act like organic polymer. I would find a Rex and a corrupted Rex duking it out like some sort of movie where the clone in the original fight. The corrupted Rex would go down, but only gave 4 nodules, which was not quite enough. I would find 2 raptors nearby who gave more than enough, but they also took Lassie down in the process. So I now had enough to make the armor for our pup. I just have to wait over 3,000 seconds for it to recover. All in all, things were looking up though. Tames were coming together, and so I got a feeding trough down and filled it up with some slop to keep them fed. The following morning, I upgraded my armor to flak, pumped the beaver full of some more drugs, and then headed out to the desert biome to look for a doid. Surprisingly, the desert was actually not that hot, and even better, it was absolutely crawling with doids. Eventually, I would find a nice 145 dark blue one who I would scoop up to, of course, take back to base where our trap was still being occupied by the beaver. So instead, I started knocking out the doid the old-fashioned way. It would keep making its way through the spikes in an attempt to flee, and I would keep dragging it back up to the bridge like some weirdo playing with his victim until eventually it was knocked out. And I would get a little thatch floor underneath it because I know better than to trust Ark at this point. Then I would notice there was something a bit off with our beaver.
Why does it feel like this thing's taming has stopped moving? Why? Its taming effectiveness is at 0. Nothing's happened to this thing. It's just been sitting here eating berries. It's not even going to be starved out because it's been sitting here eating berries. So I'm still going to have to go full in on taming this thing.
So I would have to let the beaver wake up and heal some before attempting to knock it back out. I couldn't be asked to do this all over again right now, so I instead loaded up Gibbs with stuff I would need for crafting fur armor, as well as some extra resources.
I always keep a stack on me, you know? I always like to have one a little bit on me in the beginning.
And we headed off for the snow biome. And surprisingly, the snow biome also was really not that cold. It was also nighttime, which after 13 days of basically non-stop daylight, this felt really weird. Before long, I would spot a level 135 snow owl, but then I also spotted an entire colony of penguins, and well, I got a little distracted with committing penguin genocide. After getting a decent little stockpile of organic polymer together, I built a nice trap for the snow owl, which I'm not going to show how to build because again, it's a Captain Fat Dog trap. Go check out his video. I would then go to aggro the snow owl, except that my little side mission of penguin slaying seemed to have cost me as the owl was no longer anywhere to be found. I kept hearing what I thought was the owl as I flew through the woods, but yeah, I've lost it. Thankfully though, I would find something even better.
Snow owls don't aggro stuff, do they? That's not it. No way. It did not fly all the way up here.
Oh, it's even better. I would bait it into the trap, which worked like an absolute charm. It's in. It's in. Gotcha. You suck. And then as I was knocking it out, my crossbow would break. Luckily, I had all the stuff for fixing it from the mats I brought for fur armor, with the exception of wood. I had wood on me. I literally at base said I always take some extra of everything just in case, at least early on, and then I didn't use the extra wood that I had on me. The old hoot would go down, and luckily I still had prime meat from the baby penguins to feed it, and while waiting on it to tame, our old pal Lassie would show back up. Hey, Lassie! Lassie's back! And now let me hear you say, "O-V-ho!" Of course, it wouldn't be a new flyer tame if I wasn't then short on chitin and hide for making its saddle, so it was back to farming spiders.
Hey, what's going on down here? What are you doing, Lassie? Lassie, fight back, Lassie. Oh, well, thanks for fighting, Lassie. Lassie found me spiders.
And then taking down another Bronto who would trample Lassie as it attempted to flee. And yeah, no, I hadn't even put her armor on her yet. Lassie's sacrifice would give me enough hide to craft its saddle, and then I took old Johnny Boy out for the first time to gather some thatch I would need to craft up some gates. The doe would finish taming shortly thereafter, and of course I didn't have enough hide for its saddle, but I only needed a little bit more stone to finish the gates, so I just gathered it by hand, completely disregarding the fact that I could have just picked up the doe with the Argent. And now with some gates and a snow owl, it was back to the snow biome to try taming a mana garmer. While here, I grabbed an explorer note with the owl, pumping all points into stamina to extend the length of its freeze ability. I would find some manas, but man, these things are a pain in the butt. Even checking the level with a spyglass is rage-inducing. After searching for a while, I would spot a nice level 140, but of course, it would start fighting an entire parade of mammoth, and yeah, got itself killed.
Oh, it's dead. Yeah, it's dead. I actually do hate taming these.
So I spent all of day 16 trying to find another high level one, but more so just trying not to break my keyboard every time they jumped out of frame. Eventually I would settle for a level 110, trying to basically freeze it with the owl, and then I would quickly get some gates down around it to trap it in. I probably could have had it right here, but I stupidly placed the front gate, blocking myself, and just a side note here, they can't actually fit through stone gateways. So yeah, I didn't even need to place that gate. And would you be shocked to find out that eventually it got itself killed by mammoths? The excitement and letdown of mana taming did at least give me inspiration for my Doid name, Blue Balls. I wouldn't give up though, as the next day I crafted up some large bear traps, but then just searched all day, finding only low levels, with the only real progress being that I farmed a bunch of oil that I wasn't even sure was actually oil.
Is this all oil or is this obsidian and oil? No, this is all oil. Oh, heck yeah. No, this is obsidian and oil. No, that is oil, right? That's oil, right? No, that's gotta be obsidian.
That's oil. My bad luck continued into the next day, so instead I went out to search the perimeter of the snow dome in hopes of finding a Karchar, but also had no luck with that. So instead I returned to Sanctuary in search of a replacement beaver, as the other had despawned, and just up the river from our bridge was a level 135, who I would load up with arrows in our trap, and it was knocked out. Then while waiting around for it to need drugs, I crafted up a few cryos. I'm using a cryo mod because I like how this mod shows you your tame's point distribution while in the cryo. Then I realized I had a little more poly in my smithy and was able to craft up a few more. Before long, it was time for the beaver's first dosage of drugs when I would realize that Lassie was alive again and managed to actually get the gear I'd crafted on her. And needing to stick around base for the beaver, I did some more hide gathering, which allowed me to craft a saddle for my Doid. Now, I've never actually played Extinction before, but I have heard that the light posts give a crazy amount of high value stuff when farmed with a Doid, but I was not expecting this.
Oh my god.
While doing this, I spotted a level 110 Enforcer, who I decided to take out for its blueprint. I obviously didn't have the stuff to craft this at the moment, but I held on to it as I would eventually like to craft one just to do it. Then I took the Doid to that large grouping of tables in the arena to really see what it could do. I didn't have a ton of dust just yet, but I figured why not go ahead and get it churned into actual element, since we'll be moving base before too long and the dust is pretty heavy. And since I was having no luck finding manas or a Karchar, I started crafting up some greenhouse pieces to go gotcha taming as a backup plan. First, it was time for more narcotics on the beaver, as well as feeding it berries so it could start taming. And then I decided to loot the dams where I had found the beaver for some more paste that I would then turn into more greenhouse pieces. On my way out though, I decided to stop over to check out what might become my final base spot. This spot is out in the Wasteland though, which is why I've been so pressed to get things like a mana or a Karchar tamed to help defend it. So before setting out for doing gotcha taming, I crossed my fingers and headed back into the snow for one last attempt at finding a mana. After a few more laps around the snow and still no mana, I was just about to head out when I would spot a max level Rex, who I figured would be able to hold it down for the time being. I didn't have enough arrows on me though, so it was back to Sanctuary, risking life and wing as a meteor shower rained down around me. Heart's beating a little fast, I'm not gonna lie. Oh gosh. I would return to base to find our beaver had finished taming, and we named it Wigglesworth. Then as arrows were crafting in our inventory, it was back through the meteor shower, but at least this time I could see them coming head on. I returned to the Rex, and like the mana, I attempted to freeze it while putting gates around it, failing miserably as I left too big of a gap. Oh no! I thought I nailed it. That's hard to do. So after it wandered off some, I began picking up the trap when I spotted something much nicer. Oh, wait, please be a good level. Come on, you little son of a... 145! Oh, no way! This thing could not have been more annoying if it tried, striking me on the back of the head and then immediately springing back into the air. Little did it know though, I'm sort of a pro gamer, as I would time the freeze perfectly for when it struck, and then smooth as butter, I got gates down trapping it. Only problem is, well, I also trapped myself. Oh crap. Oh crap. My snow owl is properly stuck in here with it though. Oh gosh, what is this? There's no getting out of this. We might actually just be stuck. I guess I don't think it can attack. Oh, I opened the gate. I'm gonna let it out. Wait, can it not fit out of a gate? We did it though. We trapped the elusive mana, used our snow owl to heal it up some from its attempts to get itself killed, and then started loading with arrows as it tried desperately to get away. Despite its best efforts to escape, the mana would go down, and then just down the ledge, I would find an orphaned Daedon. But this little bugger was tanky as all hell, and before I could take it out, a pack of wolves showed up near the mana. Nervous they would end up hurting it, I lured them away, and in doing this, the baby Daedon escaped. Luckily though, there was a nearby mammoth mommy with some younglings who I would lure one of the wolves into. The mammoth would come out victorious, but with it now weak, I did what any perfectly sane man would do. I murdered the entire family. Using prime meat from the babies, I fed the mana, and at this point, I've become a bit of an expert in the subject of Ark screwing me over with tames falling through the mesh. So knowing this cliff was not stable, I stuck around until the mana was tamed. Of course, I forgot to bring a cryo with me, so we would have to make the journey home on foot. Once there, I got the saddle crafted up, and then decided to cryo it so I could check its stats.
Oh my gosh, dude. What the heck?
And we named him Frostbite. Of course, getting one of the most fun tames in Ark meant I had to immediately take it out for a spin. We're gonna put all of this thing's points into stamina, as it drains faster than my wife's attraction to me when I start talking about dinosaurs. And at this point, I felt like with our mana, and if we could possibly tame that 150 Rex, we would have enough firepower to move into our pipe base. So after farming more nodules, I crafted up one more cryo, and then cryoed up all of our tames, and packed everything we owned into gibs, as it was time to say goodbye to our little bridge base and the safety of Sanctuary. But my bad luck never fails to show its ugly head, as another meteor shower would start just as we were leaving. With gibs heavy and slow, I wasn't gonna risk getting sniped out of the air by a fireball, and so I took up shelter in the rafters of Sanctuary. It would clear up the next day, and before long, we were arriving at our new base location. This pipe is one of the few spots in the Wasteland where meteors are unable to hit. It has decent metal spawns nearby, and sits almost perfectly between the snow, desert, and Sanctuary. My idea for this base is to build a Wasteland Bandit Camp of sorts, with builds elevated along the sides of the pipe, and if we should tame some larger creatures, we have plenty of space out here in this side section to keep them. So of course, I had to start getting foundations down, and instead of using thatch, I went with stone, just in case something should wander into the pipe and start attacking them. Then I set all my stations back up, and a storage bin, as my smithy was now full. There were a lot of small rocks clogging up the area that we would use blue balls to clear out, and using some of that, I got a pipe down inside of the pipe. Pipeception? Then it was back to the snow biome to tame up that 150 Rex, but unfortunately, it seems like it either got taken out or it despawned. After searching for some time, I would spot a pair of Rex on the mountainside, and one of them was a 135 male. So I would lure the low level off the cliff, and then froze and trapped the 135. But as I started to trank it down, the low level had managed to find its way back up to interrupt our intimate moment. So I drew it even further down the cliff, and as the night was ending, the 135 hit the ground. Conveniently enough, there was an Ovis just down the mountain who I would harvest for its juicy lamb chops. Fed it to the Rex, and then again, knowing this cliff was mesh waiting to happen, I stuck around till the Rex tamed. Now we've got Reptar to keep us company. Of course, as I was leaving the snow, there was another meteor shower, so I guess we're gonna find out just how safe our pipe really is. It would seem safe enough even when the meteors would pelt the top of the pipe, but I was now stuck inside my tunnel, and so needing more hide for the Rex saddle, I tried picking off anything that got too close to one of the entrances. Eventually, I ran out of things to fight, and now stuck just doing nothing at all, I set up a chair on the edge of the pipe, skinned it with the Wasteland skin, and just sat watching as the earth ended. The meteors would clear up the next day, and I would use Frostbite to take out some more corrupted for their hide, crafting up the Rex saddle, and yeah, he's just gonna kind of sit here and guard the pipe. Next, I headed back into the snow biome to grab another explorer note I had seen while taming the Rex, and then on my way back out, oh my gosh, that's a Giga. Oh, that's a Giga. Holy crap, there's a Giga over here. It's only a level 95, and honestly, I would prefer a Karchar, but this might be something that's worth taming as well. First, though, I needed to make use of that XP note, as I would need plenty of levels still if I ever wanted to craft a saddle for that Giga. This was going pretty well, so I grabbed another note, this time on foot, as I've always been told grabbing them on foot gives you more instead of splitting the effect with your tame, but I don't know if that's actually true. Then it was off to this area of the map where Spinos and corrupted Spinos spawn in constantly, which felt like the best place to farm XP at this point. Although these corrupted pteranodons might be the most annoying thing on this damn map. But yeah, basically just spent the whole day farming Spinos. The next day I was on my way to grab another note when I would spot a Dreadnoughtus for the first time, and it was even a 135. Obviously we're nowhere near ready to tame one, but still it's nice to know that it's out here. Then I would grab the note I came for, and it was back to farming Spinos. I did this until that note ran out, went and grabbed 2 more, and then farmed Spinos for the rest of the day until I had ran out of water and needed to make a stop in Sanctuary. Thirst quenched and jar filled, it was back out the next morning until I started burning alive from the heat that apparently cooks this side of the map. Closer to my base seemed cool enough though, so I grabbed another note, and then while searching for things to farm, I spotted another Dreadnoughtus, and this one was a max level. Before long, I found a nice spot in the hills that spawned in all sorts of stuff. I would even take down a level 180 corrupted rock drake, a low level enraged corrupted rex, aka an alpha rex, and a corrupted reaper king. And later in the day, I would start fighting another enraged rex who was a level 135. Our battle would have more scenery changes than the final fight of Revenge of the Sith, as we eventually ended up down a cliff nearly in the desert biome. The next morning, I would grab another explorer note in the desert, and after a few more blasts of ice breath, the rex was down. By the time this note ran out, I was now level 91 and figured I would take a break and go tame the Giga. But the Giga was nowhere to be found. I even checked to see if it had wandered into the snow biome, but it seems to have just disappeared. So back at base, I remembered to finally craft up a saddle for the beaver, and then began setting up another of our mods for this playthrough. This is the visual storage mod. This mod has dedicated bins for each of your different materials, and then a drop box which allows us to quickly transfer materials to them. I was nearly ready to start on my first build of this playthrough, but first I needed to gather materials to build more of a foundation for my tames. While doing this, I would run into some corrupted dinos that had made it into the lower portion of the base, which is definitely a cause for concern. Then back in the pipe, I would start setting up some foundations along the side of the water with ramps and ceilings extending up into the sides of the pipe. Before long, I had ran out of wood, and for some reason our beaver wouldn't auto harvest the trees in the wasteland, so I had to make a trip all the way over to Sanctuary to let it harvest palm trees, as that seems to be the only thing it liked. Then it was back to work, and by the end of the day I had made some small progress, but there was still plenty of work to do. And with plenty of work to do both on the floor and our first build, I was going to need a ton more materials, which meant I needed more visual storage bins to hold it all. After placing those down, I headed out with my Doid to gather stone, but apparently the Doid also won't auto harvest the rocks in the wasteland, meaning we would have to do this manually, which is both tedious and dangerous. Luckily it will auto harvest metal rocks though, and since I'm lazy, yeah, I did it, sue me. We would spend the majority of day 30 harvesting stone while beating off the occasional pest, and of course going after more metal nodes. Apparently this one is outside of the boundary, and I was nearly burned alive by my own implant. The next day it was time to gather wood with Wigglesworth, and apparently he had developed a taste for these wasteland trees. Wigglesworth and me, we're flying tree to tree, we're chopping them all down to build our bandit town. Yeah, Wigglesworth and me, we're flying tree to tree, we're chopping them all down, we'll build a bandit town. And later in the day we would duck and dodge corrupted dinos as we gathered thatch with John. With all of those mats, I added some more to the base foundation, giving me a nice large platform now for keeping all of my tames. And then the rest of the day was basically just standing around crafting the building pieces for our first build. And with everything we would need crafted, I used some of the leftover mats to add more to the floor. Before getting to building though, I wanted to do another metal run around the mountain, you know, so we could have those forges working for us while we're working on our build. And as I came around the backside of the mountain, I decided to take a peek over at the Giga and Karchar spawn point, and I was not disappointed. Oh, don't run there. Don't go there. Stay out here. Stay out here with me. Oh my flippin' gosh. Oh, it's a 135 female. Oh, okay, well, let's go put this back. So, of course, I rushed Pincushion home and then headed out on Frostbite to attempt taming it. Luckily, there were some Chalico nearby that I would quickly dispose of, and I'm not gonna lie, looking back on this footage, I kind of feel bad watching that poor baby running away from its mother's lifeless corpse. Anyway, so I would drag the body over to the Karchar, and we were underway. I found another nearby and drug it over as well, but the Karchar had some trouble eating this one, and it took so long that it wasn't quite ready to ride. I would end up chasing it into the snow biome, where I would feed it a Megatherium, and we were off. Give me the prompt. What is it doing? It's not giving me the prompt. There we go. Okay, here we go. Things started off great as almost immediately I would run into an entire herd of mammoths, but as I continued around the snow biome, things just started going south slowly. This is like the go-to area for everything to just be running around. Now there's nothing over here. I've made terrible mistakes. I've come to an area where there's nothing. There were so many mammoths over this way earlier. Come on, baby. We got this. 260 seconds. We're already halfway home. There's a bunch of mammoths right here. Oh, we're not gonna get this. We're not gonna get it.
Holy crap. We just ran the snow biome and we ran it like we had such good luck early on, and then everything just started disappearing. We're at 90%. 60 seconds left. Come on. Anything really. Just a big pack of things would do. What can we find out here? Come on. 50 seconds. 50 seconds. Let's go. Come on. Just some things. Just something. 8%. Come on. What's down here? Anything? Come on. Oh gosh. Come on. These corrupted. Surely a stego has to be worth something.
I got so caught up in the thrill of this tame coming down to the absolute wire that, well, I wasn't exactly paying attention to the stack on the buff.
We're not gonna make it. We have 5%, 20 seconds. We didn't do it. We didn't do it. Oh, I got to the 100 stack. I got to the stack of 100, you idiot. You stupid, stupid man. All you had to do is roar.
Luckily, there were several bears nearby, and after feeding it a few of those, I was back on, and before long, we had it tamed.
What I do know is that this should do it right here.
Yes! We got a Carcharodontosaurus!
Oh my gosh, dude. Look at it.
Look at it!
Holy crap, level 200.
And back at base, we named our new beast, Lady Zilla. The following day, I did a very quick wood run to feed the forges, and with that, it was time to get started on the first build of this playthrough. So that is our first build of this playthrough. This is basically going to be our workshop and storage building for the playthrough. Overall, it's not the most elaborate or crazy build, but for this playthrough, it's more about the overall base. So this is just one piece to the bigger puzzle. This bottom floor is where we'll keep all of our crafting stations and our forge. The second floor is honestly just probably going to be where we put some extra stuff. Then we have a small pen around the side where we'll keep all of our harvesting tames. And over here is a small shack, which will be used to hide all of our visual storage. So with that done, it was time to fill it out. But oddly enough, I was short on crystal for the fabricator. So it was back to the edges of Sanctuary with blue balls to harvest some lights, and as the day was ending, the fabricator was crafting. Next, I cooked up some gasoline, crafted up a generator which I would tuck away under the stairs, and then used a mod called the Wasteland Structure Skin mod to change it into something more appropriate for the theme. After that, I added all of the visual storage containers to the shed, put down a Dropbox outside, and began setting up all of the distribution settings. Then it was time to move everything I'd been storing on the pad up into those storage containers, before ending the night doing another wood run for our forges. And if you're wondering about this Dreadnoughtus we've seen walking around outside of our base, it's only a level 80. Now with our first build done, things all moved in, and metal cooking, I went out and grabbed another Explorer note, and it was back to farming XP, as now we have a very good reason to get to level 96. Once that note expired, I set up some waypoints in the desert to grab all of the notes at once. I would grab the first one, but then the second one just didn't work.
Hello? Okay. All right, this one doesn't work, apparently. What the heck's going on? Come on, man. Are you serious?
Even without that one, though, I built my XP boost up to 2,500 seconds, and it was back to Spino City for some more farming. Even teaming up with Ark's most fearsome creature, the Dung Beetle, to take one down.
Get him, Dung Beetle, get him! Eat his flesh! Eat his rotted flesh! Stego, leave Dung Beetle alone. Get him, Dung Beetle, get him! This has to happen. This bonding moment has to result in the tame. Come on, Dung Beetle. There you go, brother. What level are you? Oh, it's a 110. Hey, chill.
Daddy, chill.
What the hell is even that?
This would continue most of the next day as well, reaching level 95, just one short of having the saddle. While doing this, I spotted another high-level Dreadnoughtus stomping around down here in the sulfur fields.
145? Oh, I don't know. I'm obviously not taming it tonight, but
Before I would realize that I had overstayed my welcome out here in the heat, and now nearly dead, I had no choice but to push Frostbite against its will to carry me to safety. And then back on the cooler side of the map, I would engage a Rex as my XP boost was expiring, and I was nearly level 96. But the Rex would fall down a cliff, and we would fail to take it out before the bonus expired. And of course, before I could even get that last level, I was forced home by another meteor shower. So while here I would empty out my forges, as I now had enough metal for our industrial forge. I just need everything else. Then I crafted up another mod I'm using. This is the custom neon sign mod, which is exactly what it says. Neon signs that you can customize the size, color, scale, all sorts of stuff. I thought they fit the theme of our builds, and so I named our workshop the Coal Ranch Refinery. Still at base, I crafted up some paste, used that to help craft an industrial grill, and after applying the Wasteland skin, I started cooking up some meat so we can stop surviving off of scraps from our campfire. Then I grabbed some nodules I had from all the Spino slaying and used those to help craft a fridge, which of course I skinned as well.
well, that gets not really wastelandy. It's kind of modern. It kind of looks like the one in my kitchen.
And as I was finishing up that, I would notice some unwanted visitors who were causing mayhem in our tunnel.
A theory? A theory of all things. Well, finish him off. Come on, be good levels. Be good levels. It hand delivered. It hand delivered a 145 theory baby to me. There's another one over here. I saw it. Oh, come here, you little jerk. I just got 145 theory babies and they're mate paired. Oh, delivered. Of course, they would need food, so we gathered more berries with Lucky, and then it was back to farming corrupted dinos until finally I leveled up and we could now unlock the Karchar saddle. All I was short on was, of course, chitin, and before long, we had it crafting up, and then I had to take this baby out for a little test run. But what better way to break in our brand new Karchar than by doing our first OSD? This one being a yellow, which would be no issue for our big girl. I would start picking off the scraps around the shield until eventually it went down, which honestly I prefer just dropping the shield. I just didn't know you could do that at this point. And now at this point, you've probably noticed the blinking red water icon, and if not, I'm sure Proto is going to blow it up to make sure you see that I am once again out of water. So yeah, I would have to abandon our very first OSD to go get water. The heat was also beginning to kill us again, so nearly dead, I once again overworked one of our tames to save my ass. Welcome to the team, Lady Zilla. Back at base, I would craft a canteen to help prevent this from happening again, as well as a gene scanner, as I was curious to see if there were any other Karchar currently on the map. Yeah, there's no more Karchars on the map. They rarely spawn though, so honestly, I should just be happy I found this one. Still needing cementing paste and polymer for making the industrial forge, I headed off to do my first cave of this playthrough. This cave is known simply as the Desert Cave. It holds the artifact of chaos and is located roughly right here on your map. Now, caves on Extinction are much different than the other maps, being very large and open, allowing us to walk our Karchar right in, which allows us to farm chitin off of Arthros, as well as more chitin and polymer off of the Mantis. I would move through the cave effortlessly, stopping to grab an explorer note with the Karchar, but unfortunately it was too tall to register the note, and so I grabbed it instead on foot and then continued wiping everything out. Before long, I was in possession of the artifact. Now normally you would just grab this artifact and immediately use it to summon in the Desert Titan, but I'm not quite ready to do that, so instead I just took the artifact back with me. On the way out, I would hear a cave drop, but could not for the life of me find it until I realized that it was of course meshed into the ground. It's right there in the ground. Oh, of course. I mean, why would it be any different? Why would this map be any different than every other map I've played? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if it is broke, also don't fix it. Back home, I would transfer everything into the Dropbox and then began crafting paste, but I would need more stone if I was gonna finish. So next day was back out to gather more stone, which I would use to craft more paste. I used some of my metal to craft other stuff though, so I had to go gather more of that, when of course I would be cut short by another meteor shower. I would get what metal I had gathered cooking up, and then it was off to the snow biome to gather the oil I would need as well. Upon returning, I had enough metal cooked up to finally craft the industrial forge, placed it in the spot we'd prepared for it, and moved over the remaining metal to begin cooking it faster. The next thing I wanted to craft was the tribe tower, but for that I needed, well, basically everything. So wasting no time, I got the gunpowder crafting up, then got distracted with finally getting a new smithy moved into our new workshop, which I would skin with the Wasteland skin. Made up some gasoline in the forge, and then went out with Lady Zilla to farm keratin. Now just waiting on metal to craft, I made up some spark powder as well as more cementing paste I would need for crafting a chemistry bench. While doing that, the metal would finish, and so I crafted up our tribe tower.
You can't place this tribe tower in here. Oh, that's so freaking lame. That ruins all my plans. I can't place it in here. It must be placed in the open. I cannot place it out here. Are you flipping kidding me, dude? That's so freaking lame. So you can't have a tribe tower in here because it's not out in the open apparently.
I would end up finding that if I placed a foundation way out on the ledge of the pipe, I could place down the tower, but that basically ruined the plan that I had for the build I was going to do around the tower. I also found that this thing is basically pointless for a 100 days challenge, as it takes 24 real life hours to fully power up. So with metal wasted on that, I went back out with pincushion, as I'll be needing a lot more for our next task. I returned home the next day with the first load of metal for smelting, and with that cooking, I went back out to farm some more nodules, which I would use for crafting the chemistry bench. I placed that next to the smithy, and weirdly enough, there's no wasteland skin for the bench, fabricator, and our forge. All the metal I've been gathering will be used to tame a dread Nodus, as the best method for doing this is to basically surround it with 5 metal behemoth gates once it began eating the element. But to do this, we're going to need a whopping 18,000 metal ingots, 4,200 paste, and 700 polymer. I'll also need element for luring the dread to the element vein in the first place, so it was back to sanctuary to farm lights and tables for dust, which I would start turning into unstable element. I still had plenty of spare time waiting for metal to cook though, so the next day I went out searching for potential OSDs, but yet another meteor shower would send us back to sanctuary, and so instead I hit up some beaver dams for paste I would need for the gates. By the time we were done with that, the initial metal was nearly done cooking, so once the storm passed, it was back to the city tunnel as well as a spot above my base to gather some more. But even with a second run, I still didn't have enough metal.
11, we'll call it 11.7 because there's actually more in there. So I need about 11.7. So I really need to have about 23.4 in here. So 3 times 6, or 6, 12, 18, 24, call it 32. Oh my gosh, I don't act. Wait, no. I might have enough. 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 32 times 300. Nope, I don't. I still need to do more metal. Okay, well, we're gonna have to let some of that metal respawn.
While that was crafting, I ran out for some more stone and then crafted up the rest of the paste I would need for the gates. I also still needed more element as well as more nodules to act as polymer, and figured the best way to do this would be to just run an element vein. Unfortunately, a 25k one that was right outside my base had despawned. I would find a 50k one later in the day.
50k, okay. Wait, no, 50k is the highest, isn't it? That's the highest one. Oh, we just gotta, okay, so we know where one's at. I should mark that. Hopefully it doesn't despawn before it's time to tame the dread.
But I'll need this for taming the dread Nodus, so I decided to just mark it on the map for later. I searched all day without finding any other veins, but I did find a yellow OSD, which I figured might give me an upgraded pick for farming the eventual vein, as well as a chance to farm nodules. Just as I was going to start it though, the sky would begin to change. And sure enough, it was yet another meteor shower.
This isn't an actual meteor shower, I don't think. I think this is just where the sky like looks like it's a meteor shower. Stop it. Nope, it is. You gotta be kidding me, man. Like, I can't just get this one moment. I can't do a flipping OSD. I just wanted to do an OSD. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to do an OSD real quick. Now I gotta make my way home.
Once that cleared up, I yet again did a metal run for the metal I was still missing and got that cooking up. Afterwards, I headed back out to run the OSD, which of course was now gone. Wildcard was nice enough to leave a yellow beam in its place though, just to remind me what I lost. So instead, I settled for a blue OSD I had found, but like I've said, I never played Extinction on ASE, so I had no idea just how overpowered I was for this level drop. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you this, but with low tier enemies that only go up to level 30, this was way too easy and quite frankly very boring. I would continue fending off these fearsome beasts into the next day, mostly because it just took them forever to pathfind their way to the OSD, and after a long fight of mostly trying to stay awake, I had finished my first ever OSD and was ready to steal all of its juicy loot.
All right, we did it. Remarkably enough, we did it. Let's see what we got. I will enjoy that spark powder. Whoa, wait a minute. Hold on. We got a apprentice battle wheel. We got a racer. We see a nice little sickle upgrade. There we go. Some wood gates. Don't need those. Okay, that was definitely not worth it. Holy crap. What? Oh my. Oh, veggie cakes? I mean, you never know. Could use a veggie cake.
I would return to base to the admiration of all of my tames for completing this almost impossible task, when I would notice that the Theries had finished raising, and so feeling a bit hungry from my intense battle, I named them Chicken and Waffles. It was obvious I needed to go for higher tier OSDs, which at the time of recording this meant I would need hazard gear, as the corrupted wyverns were still able to burn you alive off the back of your mount. So I first crafted up some ghillie armor, which would allow me to endure the heat of the sulfur fields as I gathered condensed gas. I started off doing this by hand before deciding to retrieve my doed, who could get this done at a much faster rate. On the way home, I stopped to gather some blue tree sap from the trees outside of Sanctuary, which acts as blue gems I'd need for the suit. But already heavy from all of that gas, I headed home with plans of returning. Back home, I turned the gas into gas gas balls in my forge, quickly grab some more fiber which I would need for crafting up some Theory saddles, and then use one of them to gather the blue sap much quicker. Then after a quick crystal run with the Doid, I crafted up my hazard suit as well as a spare set just in case. So with my hazmat gear now equipped, I headed back out in search of some higher tier OSDs. Of course though, all I would find instead was 10k element veins scattered around the map. Eventually I would locate a yellow OSD, and being the coward that I am, I decided to test the water on this one instead of jumping straight to red. This time I would drop the shield immediately to allow creatures to come right in. However, it wouldn't take long for me to realize that this drop was also much too easy for Lady Zilla, with the biggest threat we faced being some Spinos. That was until the sky once again began to change.
You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me, dude. These dang meteor showers, it's constant. It's like one every 3 days. Please don't be an actual meteor shower. Please just be the overcast thingy. If this is an actual meteor shower, I have to stop doing this. What the heck? What the heck? What the heck? A family of Brontos just spawned in. Okay, yeah, this is not an actual meteor shower. Thank goodness, because that would have been bad.
So as the storm continued safely above the planet, I continued defending the drop from the overwhelming waves of beasts. And before long, we had access to the sweet spoils.
Hello, sweet, precious loot. Okay, some cementing paste, some element shard. Ooh, okay, a little shitty. Take a little shitty. Nice. Some wood spikes. You never know when those are going to come in handy. Getting a lot of this battle rig stuff. Seems pretty heavy on the battle rigs. All right, well, that was not the greatest loot. But, you know,
I would return home the next day and find that all of our metal had finished cooking up. Unfortunately though, my high school level math once again has failed me.
I'm gonna be short on something. Oh no, what am I short on? Metal? No way am I short on metal still. What was I using metal for? Oh, I wanna cry. I'm sick of this. I'm short on metal. I have very good math. I didn't miss the math.
So it was back out to farm more metal with pincushion. I got all of that smelting up, went back out to gather even more metal, and now we should have enough cooking.
This is 72. Oh, I have enough. Okay, we have enough. I've never been so happy about just having metal.
With that going, I decided to head out to try to find a 50k vein we could use for taming that 145 dread we spotted a while back. And sure enough, I would find one with a level 85 dread hanging around it. Then just a little bit southeast of that, I spotted another 50k vein. So with 2 veins to choose from for taming the dread, I decided to take on the further away one, as I still needed plenty of element for actually luring the dread over. Things were going pretty smooth, with the only real discomfort being that the level 85 dread really didn't like the sight of Lady Zilla stomping around its buffet and kept trying to make its way over to fight us.
I get his attention. Yeah. I think I got his attention a little bit. Oh yeah, he don't like me. We ain't friends, he's saying. Boy, hates me. He hates me, and he's just guarding that Carno. He's literally guarding the Carno that I need to take out.
Eventually, wyverns would show up, and sure enough, our hazard gear really does protect us from their fiery breath.
All right, not that big of a deal. Hazmat gear it held up. The hazmat gear actually did it. You're right, it held up.
Another wyvern showed up, and for a second, I thought maybe we weren't so immune after all.
Oh, that's hurting me. That is hurting me.
But I'm pretty sure there was also a Dimorphodon that might have landed a few blows on us. And then, right on cue, the sky once again began to change.
If this is an actual meteor shower, I'm gonna be so freaking mad. I might as well get ready to run, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be. The chances that we have 2 fake meteor showers in a row.
Luckily, it was once again just a passing storm, and before long, we were finishing off the last few remaining foes. With the vein successfully defended, I got straight to work farming the main vein for all of its element, but decided to leave the smaller ones, as they take too long to farm, and yeah, I just really couldn't be asked to do them. Back at base, I slowly made my way to the drop box to drop off all of my new treasure, and then checking the forge, I found that we now had enough metal cooked up and could finally craft the last 3 gates needed for our dread taming trap. So now, fully prepared to do this thing, I headed back out to lure the dread over to the remaining 50k vein. Unfortunately though, the vein had despawned. So I was back out in search of another 50k vein, finding only 25k veins to start, until eventually I would find one nearly at my base and basically as far as possible away from the Dreadnoughtus. And so began my internal debate if I was about to stay up and do this.
It's so far away. Like, that's what I'm worried about, is if I start to lure it right now, and then like 30 minutes from now I go like, you know what, like we'll do this tomorrow. Like, what happens at that point?
Yeah, no, it was nearly 4 a.m. and I had to be up for work in 3 hours. So for once, I made the responsible decision and returned to base to sleep in both the game and real life. I would log back on the next day in real life, only to find that apparently in single player, the veins despawn when you're logged out. So I of course had to check if the dread was still there, which he thankfully was, and then it was just back to searching for that elusive 50k vein. And the best way to get one of them to spawn would be to trigger and then abandon any smaller veins to get them to despawn and open up a new spawn point for a larger vein.
I really hope I don't find an element vein. Like, imagine finding a 50k vein all the way up here. Wait, there's one up there. You gotta be kidding me. Do not be a 50. No, that's a little guy. That's little. That's what my wife said. Yeah, it's like a 10k. Oh, no, that's a big one. Oh, it's so big. Oh, that's definitely a 50. Oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. It's so far.
So I began the process of feeding the old chunker some element to slowly drag it across basically the entire map.
Oh, well, that's just hilarious. That is just actually hilarious. I mean, this is what we're doing, Ark. This is what we're doing. We're getting stuck in feet. I mean, I'm all for the feet game, but you know, not right now.
Eventually, it would move its foot, freeing us, and we would continue baiting it across the map for the remainder of day 56. The journey of man and potential new best friend continued past the halfway point of day 57 as well, until finally we arrived at the element vein.
Come on, brother. Yeah, buddy, you see it. You want some of that. I know you do, you little crackhead.
Our new pal wasted no time taking to the element vein like me to a bag of Doritos, and I wasted no time getting it gated in to protect it. Speed was critical as corrupted were already hot on the scene, ready to mess the whole thing up, but little did they know I had a pocket car char waiting. Then I realized that I didn't exactly place one of the gates perfectly, so in a quick moment of peace, I quickly hopped down and got it fixed and began defending our new potential friend from the corrupted. The only real danger to this process was the occasional wyvern who would attempt to burn the dread alive, and then you probably wouldn't believe me if it wasn't on video, but once again in a critical moment, the sky began to change.
Is this a meteor shower? Are you f***ing kidding me? Are you gonna actually do this right now, Ark? Are you actually gonna rain meteors on me as I'm trying to do this? This is a fake meteor shower. It's a fake one, right? This is a fake one. Someone tell me this is a fake one. Someone please tell me this is a fake meteor shower.
Thankfully, it was in fact a fake meteor shower, as I would continue fending off corrupted into the next day, and after chasing down one last racer, we had our first tamed Dreadnoughtus.
It's done! We did it! That was so easy! We did it so easily! Look at us! We're pros! We're professional gamers! We got ourselves a 217 Dreadnoughtus, 141,000 health. My gosh, yo big guy.
Now, I was under the impression that taming the dread also completed the element vein, but no, you have to actually do the defense all over. I would trigger the vein while attempting to farm it, which would end up being a huge mistake in the next few days. But for now, things were looking up as I got our new dread safely tucked away inside our pipe and then headed back out to find it a mate. And while out searching, I spotted two 50k veins relatively close to each other on the southern side of Sanctuary. While searching the following morning, I spotted a purple drop near the giant skeleton, and then as I was leaving from investigating that, I somehow managed to completely miss the Dreadnoughtus walking beneath the bones. You know, the biggest non-Titan creature on the map managing to completely elude me simply by hiding behind some bones. So I continued doing laps around the map looking for a mate, even taking out Brontos, as I was convinced they might share spawns with the Dreads. Eventually, I would circle all the way back around, and this time I managed to spot the Dread within the bones, and this one was a level 115. I decided this would have to be good enough. It's just extremely unfortunate that I despawned the 50k vein that used to be sitting literally right here. And so once again, our attempt to tame a Dreadnoughtus would start with making a long and slow journey across the map to one of the 50k veins south of Sanctuary. As we were departing north of Sanctuary though, we nearly ran straight into a 10k vein, which I would quickly despawn to prevent the Dread from trying to use it to eat. I figured the easiest way to get the Dread to the vein would be just to cut straight through Sanctuary, but of course we had to take a pit stop on the way through to tickle those beautiful little feet.
Nice. Nice. We are once again in the foot. Look at the thumbs on that sucker. He'd give you a good old time. Jesus.
Eventually, we emerged on the southern side of the map, and before long, our girl was heading straight for the vein. That is, until she got stuck between a small boulder and the edge of a bridge.
She's stuck. Get in there. What are you doing? Get off the dang rock, you dummy. Oh my gosh. A rock has got this girl stuck.
She would come around in time as her hunger motivated her through the obstacle, and I would again block this one in with my behemoth gates for safe feeding. Unfortunately, I couldn't fully block in the backside due to the gates being obstructed, but even with its fat ass tail hanging out, nothing seemed to be able to hit it. Just to be safe though, I added another gate behind it in hopes it would slow things down. With that, the defense of our second Dreadnoughtus was underway, even defending it from creatures trying to do their best deathworm impression. Things were going great, maybe even a little too great for this being a critical moment. Ah yes, there it is, an ever predictable changing of the sky.
This is an actual meteor storm that's about to hit. This is an actual meteor shower, right? You've got to be kidding me. Every single time we do this, we get meteor showers and stuff. Okay, this is an actual meteor shower. Oh, we're screwed. We're literally stuck.
So yeah, yeah, this time it was in fact a meteor shower, here to absolutely screw me out of this very important tame. Luckily, it would seem I was safe enough inside of this structure. The question though would be, how am I going to manage to tame the dread through this storm? And the answer would be to hide like a little bitch, as the corrupted seem to be uninterested in my gates, although I would have to poke out on occasion to deal with wyverns. Our defense of the dread would continue into day 61 with one close call, sending me into full pucker mode. Oh my gosh, 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 oh my gosh.
How did that not just destroy the gates?
And then some pesky Pteranodon somehow remembered that they could in fact just fly up and over the gates, forcing me to expose the dread to quickly deal with them. But seeing how the meteor failed to do any sort of damage to my gates made me much more confident that they needed pinpoint accuracy to actually damage us, and so I continued taking out corrupted without fear. Eventually the storm passed, and before long our second Dreadnoughtus was tamed, and back home I wasted no time getting them breeding.
Get to doing the do. Come on now. Come on now, let's see what you got.
Now that I've got them making eggs, I figured it would be smart to get an Oviraptor to collect them. Of course, I would need an egg for taming one, so I let our Theres get their freak on and then stole their unborn child for Oviraptor taming, and headed out to the area where we had our starter base, as I had seen several around there in our early days. I was having no luck finding one when I remembered that I had crafted a gene scanner at one point and went to grab it. Went ahead and crafted up some bolas for good measure, but then before I could even use the scanner, we would spot one.
There's an Oviraptor right there. I brought the cheat scanner. I brought the cheat scanner to find one, and there's literally one right here. Look at that. It's a level 20. Easy. Easy. Hit it with the bola.
So I hit it with a bola, knocked it out, fed it the Theri egg, and before long it was tamed, and we named it Human Horn. Next, I figured we should probably tame a dung beetle as well, but we learned from our aberration playthrough that the gene scanner, for some reason, doesn't work with dung beetles. But luckily enough, I ended up just stumbling upon one.
Oh, wait. There's one. Aha! I found one. Holy crap. Look at me. Level 20 too. It's so simple. And I think my boy just poopied.
Got some poop courtesy of Frostbite, and now we had ourselves a little poop collector. Back at base, I built a little hut for keeping our Oviraptors safe, and then dumped the dung beetle into the pen with our harvesters to gather their droppings. And with an Oviraptor now tending to any dropped eggs, I headed back out in search of a red OSD to get me the last 2 levels I needed to reach level 100 and unlock the Dreadnoughtus saddle. I would end up finding a red OSD the following day, grabbed the nearby Explorer note to give myself a little boost, and then fired it up with Lady Zilla. The drop started off easy enough, and before long I was level 99, and then not too long after that, I got the second level to bring me to level 100. Eventually, some enraged Triceratops would show up, and with this being my first time playing Extinction, it would also be my first time fighting these. But the real issue was the other creatures being alpha boosted, as a whole herd of Stegos pinned me up against a wall, nearly killing Lady Zilla.
Everything's alpha boosted too now. Oh god. Oh god. They got me in a wall. I can't get out. I've just almost lost my Karchar. Look at my Karchar's freaking bloodied ass body, dude.
We would survive, and thanks to the Karchar's ability to heal itself, Lady Zilla would recover to finish off the wave of corrupted. The final wave came with another enraged trike, but we managed to avoid any more pinnings on our way to clearing all of them out, and before long, we were ejecting some juicy loot, which would include the BP for a tech replicator that is apparently bugged.
Oh my gosh. A tech replicator, tech rem. Oh, I needed that. I actually needed that so bad. I need those stone pillars too. Wait, where'd the tech engram go? Where'd the tech engram go? What the heck? It's gone. I picked it up. I picked it up. I know I picked it up. Does it just like unlock when you pick it up? Brother, I picked that up. Where did it go?
The loot was too much for us to carry though, so I would have to make trips back and forth with it all, and upon returning from my first trip, I found a Stego just making my house his own. Unfortunately, I also didn't really have anywhere to put my loot, so I just sort of crammed it all inside a Lassie. I still had too much loot for one trip, so instead of doing multiple trips, I decided to just have Lady Zilla follow me home, parking her just down from the pipe as I returned with the mana. While unloading this trip's loot, I would hear the sounds of something fighting, but you see, sometimes in my base, I can hear things being attacked from above the pipe, so I paid it no mind. Turns out, no, it was my trike being killed by a rock drake.
What the heck? Nobody wants to do anything about this? Rex? What the frick? A corrupted rock drake's in here. Get him, Rex. What are you doing? Y'all think you want to try something? Well, great. We lost our frickin' Triceratops.
Then, to make matters worse, after dealing with that, another meteor shower had started. So I would rush out of my base to rescue Lady Zilla from a potential death via giant flaming balls of space rock. Once we returned to base, I thought for a moment about taming the Stego to replace the trike, but then remembered that I have 2 absolutely massive berry gathering beasts just 20 feet to my right. So I checked the crafting requirements for the saddle, and it turns out I just needed some more pearls. So it was off to Sanctuary to loot the beaver dam. kilograms. Unfortunately, they were giving way less than I was expecting, and some just gave none at all. But combined with the stock at base, I still had enough for one saddle, so I headed home, where I would find the dreads had laid another egg that apparently the oviraptor didn't want to pick up.
You want to do your job?
But before crafting that, I wanted to do some work to my base, moving my feeding trough off to the side and getting things moved off the pad to clear out space for our next build. Then it was out to gather stone with the doed, wood with the beaver, and by the end of the day, I was crafting up pieces to finish off the floor of the build. Once everything finished crafting, I extended the floor towards the back of the tunnel, added ramps to extend it up into the sides of the pipe at the back as well as at the front of the tunnel, and with that, the foundation of the base was now complete. And then it was back out to gather stone for our next actual build, as well as some thatch with the deer. And I know someone is going to be upset that I'm not using the theory, but personally, I prefer to use the deer. The next day was all about the wood as the storm passed overhead while we gathered it, and this would take up the first half of the day, but now we could finally begin crafting building pieces for our next build. Crafting continued into the next day, and once we had everything together, I decided to do another quick metal run. But before heading out, I noticed that the oviraptor again was not picking up eggs and figured it might be the box, so I decided to remove it. Then it was out to gather the metal. I got all of that cooking up while also making some more gasoline to keep the generator running till the end of the playthrough, and so with all of those tasks complete, it was time to get to work on our next build.
You just felt like you had to intervene. Like you just were like, hey, there's a thing here and I need to kill it. You just could not be happy with me having something in here just lit alive. Oh my gosh, there. Jeez, that was close. All right, well, that's just hey, what would you know? Another video where I'm building when something gets killed. Now I can have another comment that says you should really pay attention to your tames instead of focusing on building.
So there you have it. That is our second build of this playthrough, and this is basically the main residential portion of our little bandit town. We of course had to have a bar because it wouldn't be a bandit town without one, and then we just have a different assortment of shacks that, while not masterful on their own, make up a nice little town. And finally, we have a nice bridge that connects us over to the other side of the pipe where the rest of our town is. Unfortunately, in making this addition, our oviraptor also died, so I grabbed my gene scanner and some arrows, crafted up another bola, and grabbed a non-fertilized egg that our dreads had laid.
Oh, you know what I just realized? Wait, I do have an egg. I have a spare, a dreadnoughtus, like an actual, like, non-kept it, right? Yes. Haha. Okay.
Using the gene scanner, I eventually found an oviraptor near the beaver lake.
Hey, there's one. You are going to get an arrow in your face. As soon as I see you again, where'd you go? No worth trying. No use trying to hide in the tree, brother. I'm on out.
Hit it with a bola and got it knocked out. It would take it some time to figure out how to fit the egg down its throat, but eventually it was tamed, and we named our new oviraptor Fluffer. Back at base, I temporarily tucked Fluffer away in a little bit safer of a spot and then headed back to Sanctuary with my Doed to gather crystal and electronics. You see, I was only a few crystals short of making the grinder and had come up with a genius plan of just farming electronics to then grind down into pearls for my second dread saddle. It didn't take long to have what I needed to make up the grinder. I got that down and of course skinned it to look like a dumpster and went ahead and crafted up my first saddle with the mats I already had. And after grabbing a few stacks of electronics, all that was left to do was grind them up.
Wait, can you not grind electronics? Can you not grind out electronics? Are you serious? Oh, that hurts so bad.
Okay, so apparently you can't grind up electronics, so for the time being, I used the one saddle I had to move the dreads to the front of the pipe and brought Fluffer over to get them ready for some more love making.
Oh, they're about to get it on right now. Here we go. All right, Fluffer, you're on, buddy. Oh, that was quick. Good job, Fluffer. You actually... Oh no. Oh, you idiot. You absolute moron. You brain dead moronic, dumb, stupid head.
Needless to say, I would make sure Fluffer had plenty of meat going forward so that that never happens again. After that, it was back to Sanctuary to hit up some more beaver dams for pearls, but after clearing out every dam I could find, I still didn't have enough for our second saddle. So I headed to the large lake in the snow to grab some from there instead.
Knowing that giant crocs spawn in here and then like swimming through it like that, terrifying.
Now that I had enough pearls, I just needed to gather some more fiber real quick with our theory, and now I could finally craft up the second Dreadnoughtus saddle. With both of them now saddled, I cryoed the pair up and headed for the Forbidden Zone when I would notice a red drop and thought it might be a good way to test out our Dreadnoughtus. They were wiping everything out, doing some massive damage numbers, and getting some good levels in the process. The only real trouble I would run into was when things would come from multiple angles and end up under my feet where I couldn't get them with the neck. And at this point, I had no idea that you could even do a tail swing. After a few waves, the dreads had taken some minor damage, but I didn't really want to risk something terrible happening to them, so I cryoed them up and got them safely back to base to continue breeding. At this point, even with just 2 dreads, I was now ready to take on the 3 sub-titans, but I still needed tributes, starting with Sarco skins.
I need 8 more Sarcosuchus skins. A freaking upside down lizard? Okay. Fair enough.
Early on, I would find the Sarco fighting just about everything it could find, but other than that one, I really struggled to find any Sarcos. I even made a trip up to the Snow Lake in search of a Dinosuchus, as they give the skins as well, but I found none. I checked the Desert Cave for Sarcos and Dinosuchus, but found nothing but Capros. So instead, I just started clearing out the river in Sanctuary in hopes of getting some Sarcos to spawn. I would leave Render to get things to respawn, and upon returning, a very friendly Capro was waiting to greet me.
Oh no. Yeah, what's up? What's up, buddy? Just sickled somebody to death. Just hooked a capper around the neck with my sickle and drove him into the ground.
Clearing out the area would work though, as I started to find a few Sarcos.
Sarco! Oh, yes.
Later in the day, I found another Sarco in the waters near our original base spot, and then I spent the rest of the day clearing out the spawns in the river again, as I only needed 1 more Sarco skin. It would take me into day 74, but I finally found our last Sarco.
I also haven't really left Render. Oh, Sarcos. Yes, come here, my sweet darling. Oh, that feels so good.
Next up, I was off to the Forbidden Zone for Wyvern Talons. Battling them with Frostbite was both interesting and actually really fun. The first one would go down, and then the real challenge would be finding the bag it dropped on the ground that looks exactly like the bag. I would find the second one amongst some wrecks and took that one down as well, and then dealt with a third one that was barbecuing a gas bag to conclude the Battle of Ice and Fire and give me enough talons. Back home, I crafted up some parachutes that I hopefully won't need, grabbed the tribute items and the artifact for the Desert Titan, cryoed up my Snow Owl, and then sat in a dark corner and watched my dreads make love. Once they finished, I cryoed the stronger of the 2 and then headed into the Desert Cave. This time I simply scurried around and jumped past everything on the mana. Unfortunately, you can't use his dash move, but even without it, we got through quick enough. Once at the terminal, I cryoed up Frostbite and then fired up the Desert Titan fight.
Alright, Desert Titan, here we go.
Once we teleported into the battle, I got my Snow Owl out quickly and started heading to the Desert Titan.
Come on, baby. Let's squish this squid. Whatever it is.
My goal was to land on the Desert Titan's back, quickly get out my Dreadnoughtus, and then just use that to take it down. But yeah, I kind of fumbled the bag here at the start.
Oh, crap. So far, so not great. No, that's not what I wanted to have happen. That is literally the last thing I wanted to have happen. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That is the last thing that I wanted to have happen. It got me off before I could get on the dread.
Not knowing where my Snow Owl went, I would attempt to use my mana now to jump up and land on the Desert Titan. But as you can probably imagine, this wasn't the easiest task.
This is not what was supposed to go down. Where's my Snow Owl at? Where's my Snow Owl? Snow Owl. Where is it? Oh, he's right here.
So I was back on the Snow Owl, and it was time to try this again.
Hello, flying Morellatops. What if I just launched myself up like that and then landed over on him? That would have been so great, and parachuted to him.
And this time we would nail it perfectly, jumping off of our Snow Owl, getting our Dreadnoughtus out, and mounting it up to start beating the Titan in the back with our neck. Somehow sticking to its back even as it tried to roll us off. That's how it's supposed to go.
Oh no. You're gonna sit there and you're gonna take it, buddy. I think there's it looks like I have a magnetic boot symbol on up on my Dreadnoughtus, which is it telling me my Dreadnoughtus is literally magnetized to this thing? One more hit. That boy is all hanging on by a swivel. And down he goes. And now we ride him into the ground. All right, that's the Desert Titan, folks.
So there you have it. We took down a giant flying manta by smacking on the back with the neck of a dreadnoughtus. Not too bad considering our dread was exhausted from a night of passionate lovemaking. And then I was reminded that the taxidermies was now a thing.
Hey, we got it. Sweet. All right, let's head home.
And to celebrate the victory, I had to hit one of the new geysers and let it launch us to the moon. Back at base, I added the dermies to the bridge, and apparently they added the ability to hide the taxidermy base with the ASA version of Extinction. Shifting gears, at this point I pretty much had to hatch and raise whatever dreads I had, so in preparation of that, I took one of my dreads out to gather a massive amount of berries, as these babies are going to eat a lot. Next, I took Pincushion out for a real quick metal run and used some of that metal to craft up some feeding troughs, which I would add to the front section of the pipe. Of course, to hatch the eggs, I would need air conditioners, but unfortunately, I did not have any cooked metal for them. So instead of waiting on metal to cook, I just grinded up some of my spare stuff, which would give me enough metal to craft the air cons. I would place them under one of the open shed areas in our little city before realizing I would need a generator to power that side. I placed that down in another nearby shed, and with that, the 5 dread eggs we've collected were now incubating. While waiting on those to incubate, I crafted up some more cryopods for them, moved my bed over into one of the houses, as well as the grill and fridge into the bar, and then I began slowly filling the troughs with the berries we had gathered. Later in the day, the baby dreads were hatching, and we even got a little surprise.
I feel like we got twins. We got a set of twins. That's actually clutch. Oh, that might have just saved us a little bit. I think we got twins. That really does save us a little bit of like, that saves us for that egg snafu, whatever you call it.
Of course, there was no way I could raise them in that little room, so I moved them down and started hand feeding them some of the berries. Once the babies could hold enough food to not require my constant attention, I headed out to gather tributes for future fights, this time being Brontospines. These would be much easier to find than the Sarcos, of course, and before long, I had the 9 I needed to add to the 1 I already had at base. And when I returned to base, the dreads had grown some and now needed to be moved out of their gaggle and given some more food. Then it was back out to this time gather Thericlaws, but before I could even finish, I had to return to base to imprint on the baby dreads. At this point though, they were at least now eating off of the troughs. Once they were imprinted on, it was back out for the last 2 claws, which luckily I found a Theri almost immediately. With those done, I headed out to an area inside of Sanctuary that I figured would have Titan boas, but unfortunately I found none. So instead, I headed to the desert biome. I knew the desert cave had plenty of snakes, with some literally right at the entrance. So I got out Lady Zilla and we quickly plowed through the entrance of the cave, looting the venom. Unfortunately, as we worked through the cave, a lot of the snakes were not giving venom, and eventually I would make it all the way to the artifact location, and seeing how nice and shiny it was, I couldn't resist grabbing it. On my way back out, I would find one last group of snakes who would thankfully give me the last venom I needed. So now I've got all the tributes I need, I just need to gather a ton of hearts and the other 2 Titan trophies. While at home, I put the extra artifact on display, mainly because I wanted to show that the Wasteland skin mod turns the artifact base into a tire, which I thought was awesome. And then I also tried setting up a sign for our town below our bridge, calling our base the Pringle Can. Get it? Because it's shaped like a Pringle can and my name's Chips. But I didn't like the way that it looked, so I took it down. With all of the alpha tributes done, next on the list was to gather all of the corrupted hearts. So I went out looking for a red drop to farm them from, despawning a blue one as well as a yellow one, but I simply found no red drops. So unable to find the drop, I headed home with a new goal, crafting an upgraded rifle, some gunpowder, rifle bullets, and then turned those into tranq darts. Then I equipped some upgraded flak I've looted off of previous drops, applied the Wasteland skins, and then did a quick metal run before getting to my new task, as I'll be needing metal for both saddles and some parts of my next build. I got all of that cooking up back at base before doing another imprint on the baby dreadnoughtus, grabbed the stone gates we still had lying around from taming frostbite, and then headed into the snow biome in search of a Utyrannus. I would do several laps around the snow biome, but apparently all of the Uties have vanished off of my Ark. I even went home and fired up the gene scanner, but even it couldn't locate a single one. I even went back to the snow biome and spent time clearing out wrecks to free up spawns, but that didn't seem to make much of a difference either, as much like my Scorched Earth playthrough, the Utyrannus apparently does not exist. So learning from my experience on Scorched Earth, I decided not to waste any more time on it and instead headed out searching for red drops, which after a lap around the map, one would spawn just down from my base. I would begin munching away at Corrupted with Lady Zilla, with my only real goal being to farm hearts. But after a few waves, I had to abandon the drop to head back to base, as the babies were once again ready for an imprint. The 3 waves I completed still gave me enough hearts for taking on another Titan though, so I grabbed the tributes I would need for the Forest Titan and mounted up Frostbite to head to the Sunken Forest. Before long, we were making the dive down, and this was actually my first time even going into the forest.
It's beautiful. I would love to live here, but I wanted somewhere, I just didn't want somewhere dark again. I've lived in enough dark places.
After getting turned around a few times, I eventually found the cave entrance, and this cave is simply known as the Forest Cave. It holds the artifact of the growth and is located roughly right here on your map. I would begin pushing through the cave again with Lady Zilla, where I would find all of my missing Utyrannus.
Oh, another Uti. Jeez. Okay. Oh, this is actually a tough cave. Like, if you weren't coming in here with a car charge, just to walk through it. The Utis and Rex and a 140 Uti. Nice. That's always fun to kill off when you can't find them.
I would also find a yellow drop on the way that had, well, absolutely nothing good in it. And with Lady Zilla, we moved through the cave with little resistance, and before long, I was rounding the corner to the artifact.
My artifact is in the mesh. Are you kidding me? My artifact is in the mesh. There's no artifact to be grabbed here. Wild card. Fix your frickin' game. Holy crap.
I would get lucky though, as the artifact would magically teleport out of the mesh and into my pocket, and we continued pushing through the bad guys to the boss terminal. My luck would end there though, as I was reminded that I still have the IQ of a sea sponge.
Claws, spines, that. It's not the Theory Claws. It's not the Theory Claws. You need Rex arms for this. I thought it was Theory Claws. It's Rex arms. Oh, that's great. Well...
So I would be left to sprint out of the cave on Lady Zilla, jump my way out of the sunken forest on Frostbite, quickly hunt down some nearby Rex for their arms, and then rush back through the cave and back to the terminal to try again.
Here we go, Forest Titan. Let's go. Come on. Come on, eh?
I would get out my mate pair of Dreadnoughtus, and this fight was a lot more straightforward. We're just gonna go swing our heads at it.
Get that son of a gun. Get him. Well, come on. Get in here and fight him, dude. What are you doing? It's literally not even helping. It's stuck on me. I gotta get out of its way so it can get in. This is an epic battle of neck swinging, hot action, folks. Busting his knees with my neck. Yeah, you got the left knee, I got the right. One more swing and this baby's down. Here we go. Give him the neck. All right. It's so anticlimactic. They're so overpowered, I'm telling you.
So there you go. 2 Dreadnoughtus can very easily take down the Forest Titan, and we've got some more loot as well as its trophy. And of course, I had to grab its dermies as well. I would return home the next day to drop off my new loot, imprint on my babies again, do a quick bear run as these chonkers have already ran through my stock, and then it was back out searching all day for red drops with 0 luck. The struggle would continue into the next day when I was informed that you can actually use your Snow Owl's thermal vision to see smokestacks from across the map, and we spotted one off by the desert biome.
I really just can't tell. I was just so unable to be told what it is. It looks red-ish. Is that blue? Oh, it's in a rock. That's why, dude, that would be such a good OSD. Nothing would be able to hit it. It's in a rock, but it's blue.
Using the owl, I would spot another one way far to the northwest corner of the map, and this one was in fact red. So I, of course, broke out Lady Zilla for some more farming, but these jerks were giving me very little hearts, as after a few waves, I only had 12. And because it took me so long to even find and get over to this drop, my imprinting timer was going off, and I had to head home to tend to my babies. On my way home, though, I would spot a 50k vein just outside of my pipe, so after imprinting on the dreads again, I decided to see if the Zeppelin really worked for moving Dreadnoughtus. First, I had to empty all of the metal I'd been cooking out of the forge, as well as doing a quick wood run with Wigglesworth for the wood I needed. With those materials, I crafted up the Zeppelin, but I never really used this thing on Aberration outside of a test run, and had no idea you couldn't pick it back up.
Can I get this? Can I put this away, or is it out forever now, or can I put it away? Well, I should have put this. I should have jumped over there before I got this out. Whatever. Long trip, long journey over. Here we go.
And so began a long, slow journey to a 105 dread that we spotted on the complete other side of Sanctuary. It obviously was not the highest level, but I figured any extra DPS would help.
Welcome to the inaugural flight of the ship's Sanctuary tour. If you look out on your right-hand side, right there at the top of this bridge here, as we're passing by, you'll see a few park benches where I found out my girlfriend at the time was cheating on me. Broke my heart. I was sad. I've never gotten over that. Nice breeze going through here. See me rolling, hating.
Of course, as I rolled up to fetch the dread, there would be a red drop here, because, you know, I'm no longer looking for one, so Ark decided to spawn one in. I thought for a second about doing the drop instead, but eventually decided to park the Zeppelin, and then it was time to bait the dread aboard. Just as I was trying to line things up, some corrupted would spawn in right on top of me, but I would act quickly, jumping onto my Zeppelin and getting it up in the air. Eventually, the dread would make its turn and jump up onto the Zeppelin, but it was weighing us down for some reason. Now, I'm not exactly sure why this worked, but apparently all we had to do was feed the Dreadnoughtus element, and then we were able to move the Zeppelin.
If you look down there to your left, you'll see an Ankylosaurus fighting what appears to be 2 spiders. Who will win this fight? Looks like the Ankylosaurus has quickly disposed of, oh, and he's taken out both. The Ankylosaurus Tylosaurus has managed to take down the 2 spiders and not even aggroed the Megatherium with the bug buff. Look out, mother! Somebody's getting shit on. Like, there's something down there that's about to get absolutely clobbered by a turd that's like a size of one of these meteors that comes down. We're gonna cut through the city here. We're gonna risk it. We're gonna risk him getting scraped off by a skyscraper.
We're gonna cut through. Uh-oh. Oh, hey, yo, chill. Chill, brother, no! Brother, what are you doing? What's going on? Oh, what just happened? It's just gone. He didn't just leave. He didn't just peace out. He's gone. Wait, he's right there. There he is. Come here, brother. Yeah, this is not your stop, my guy. We got places to be.
But then as I arrived home with one very hungry passenger, I would find the vein had unfortunately despawned. So with no vein defeated, I dropped the dread safely inside the structure above my pipe for safekeeping. Then after spending way too much time trying to get my babies to take imprints, I went out checking for nearby vein spawns, but found nothing. So it was back to searching for red drops, finding only a blue drop to start. My search would continue into the next day, finding only a yellow, and then sick and tired of being disappointed, I packed up my dreads and headed to the Forbidden Zone to farm hearts from here instead. These girthy Goliaths would make short work of even Gigas, but while it was fun watching them swat things across the map, it's just not very fast running around on them to do farming. So I switched them out for Lady Zilla in hopes she would be a bit faster, even taking down a Giga herself, as she is just an absolute beast. But if there is one thing from this playthrough I can promise you, it's that a meteor shower will show up at the worst possible time to ruin my plans. So my heart farming was cut short as I would scurry home to safety. Back home, I would add the hearts I've collected to the stock I had at base, and look, I'm not the most mature, alright?
I need... What I'm talking about. Yeah, boy.
So stuck at base due to the meteor shower, I went ahead and crafted up the new Mega Lab and swapped out my chem bench for it. I was gonna need this to make element imbued gasoline, as at the time of recording this, you still needed that to make the garage. So first I turned some element shards into dust, as I've not been saving any, mixed that with normal gasoline to make, well, yeah, element imbued gasoline. Then I crafted up some spark powder I needed for the garage, and all that was left was to gather some more polymer. Once the storm passed, I went back out to resetting drops to get a red one to spawn in, using my snow to spot them easier, which would lead me to a purple one. This would give plenty of hearts and nodules, but I didn't want to risk losing Lady Zilla. On my way back home though, I would find the red drop I've been looking for, and it was out with Lady Zilla to defend it, but more importantly, to farm hearts and nodules. Once again, my biggest foe of this drop would be the alpha boosted Stegos, who would back me up against a ledge, forcing me to leap off, severely hurting Lady Zilla. But again, her healing ability is just too OP, and before long, we were taking out the last racer and ejecting the loot from the drop, with the biggest highlight being some building pieces and some better armor. This time, instead of doing multiple trips with Frostbite, I busted out Gibbs, who was more than up for the task of carrying everything back. While loading him up though, we spotted another smokestack nearby, and sure enough, it was also red. I really considered leaving Gibbs parked up here with our loot while we ran this one as well, but my chat threatened me if anything should happen to Gibbs, and so I tucked my tail feathers and headed home. Once there, I added some storage boxes to store all of my extra loot, and with the hearts I've now gathered, I had everything I would need for taking on the Ice Titan, and this time I even grabbed the right tributes. So after another imprint, I headed for the cave, which of course, being located where I am, would be a short trip. This cave is known simply as the Ice Cave. It holds the artifact of the Void and is located roughly right here on your map. The one thing about this cave is all of the creatures are crazy high levels. Nothing that Lady Zilla couldn't easily handle, but with an imprint clock ticking, I decided to just avoid fighting anything that didn't aggro to me. Before long, I would come up on a pond, and off to the side, it was the artifact, which was surprisingly not in the mesh. And from there, it wasn't too far of a hike for the boss terminal, and time to fire up the Ice Titan fight.
Ice Titan time, baby. Let's do it.
Our strategy for this fight would be basically the same as the Forest Titan. We're just going to use our 2 mate boosted Dreadnoughtus and just smack the crap out of it. But the Ice Titan does have some attacks that could be trouble for us as the rider.
You messed up, bud. You messed up. You went over my head. Now it's over for you, because now I'm on your back. Oh, crap! Oh gosh, see, that's what I was talking about. He hit us with that somehow from behind, or somehow from in front. He threw it over his head and got to us. Oh, he's already working us. He's already working us in a little bit. Just gotta take his punches and get till you get on the backside of him. Yeah, see, now we got him. Now we got him where we want him. Now we really got him where we want him. We're on his booty hole. He don't even know what to do about it. He's punching the ground. He's so mad it hurts. Taking a frickin' Dreadnoughtus neck up the ass, and he doesn't know what to think about it. 2 of them actually. He's freaking gaping. Huh? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop. My Dreadnoughtus getting iced up. It's definitely the most intense fight so far. He's actually putting up a little bit of a fight. The other 2 just rolled right over. Here it is, the final blow. Swing it, baby, swing it. Oh, so easy. So easy a Dreadnoughtus could do it.
So that does it. Our third and final mini titan has fallen, but at least the ice titan tried to put up some sort of a fight. I would of course gather its dermies, and then after dealing with a pack of wolves, would grab the loot and the trophy. So we now have all 3 of the trophies as well as the tributes required for the King Titan. We just need to farm 130 more hearts and finish raising our baby Dreadnoughtus. Doing the red drop ahead of the ice titan fight also gave me enough nodules to now craft the garage, and with almost 10 days left, I figured I still had time to squeeze out one last build. So was out to gather thatch with John, and then I finished the night gathering wood with Wigglesworth. After one last imprint on the dreads, I did a massive stone run with our Doed. This would take basically the entire day, but by the end of the day, I had began crafting pieces for my final build. Crafting continued into the next day until I was rudely interrupted by the sound of a vein emerging nearby.
Oh, the vein's right down there. It's literally outside of our base. Come on, baby. Come on. Oh, it's a 25K. Oh, that would have been amazing. Could you imagine if that came out as a 50K?
So I went down to reset it in hopes that something better might pop up eventually. Then back at base, I got my garage lined up using a ladder to make sure it placed down perfectly straight, and with my almost fully grown dreads watching closely, it was time to start our final build. So there you go, that is my last build of this playthrough, and this one is obviously meant to be the garage for our battle rig, as well as a gate build of sorts to finally, 94 days into the playthrough, prevent things from just roaming into my base. I did some fun things with the roof of this one to create these barred-in portions, but obviously the main meat and potatoes is the actual garage itself in the center, although I did add a room on each side that could be used as storage. Next, I crafted myself the base of a rig, and after considering spending mats to build a fully functioning battle rig, I decided not to waste the metal and instead just put what pieces I had from drops onto it. It might not be able to drive, but damn it, it's still technically a battle rig. My Dreadnoughtus had also finished raising in the middle of the building montage, and I've already got them in cryos so they can start healing up. So all that was left to do was to head back out to search for more drops to farm the hearts I needed for the King Titan. Having no luck though, I decided to change it up and hit up Spino Country, where we did a lot of our leveling early in the video, to farm from them instead. Things were moving too slow over here though, so I went to the hill east of my base, where all sorts of higher tier corrupted spawn, and started farming them. Then as I was going to fight a racer, I noticed a 50k vein had spawned in just below my base.
That sounded close and it sounded big. Oh baby, that's it right there, right? That's the vein. Oh yes. Yes, 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 baby.
So I rushed home to grab some element and began trying to bait the 105 Dread to follow me off the ledge.
Well, talk to me about some stuff. Come on, come on. No, don't turn back. You're so close to falling and then you just suddenly turn back. Just fall. Just let yourself fall. Fall for me. I'm gonna have to get the skiff to get this guy down. Like, he's just being annoying.
The Dreadnoughtus would take some convincing, but eventually it was aboard our Zeppelin, and I would drop it off just short of the vein as to not accidentally trigger it. This area was already crawling with pre-existing corrupted though, and as the Dreadnoughtus was rushing to the buffet, I was trying to freeze them to keep them at bay. Having to deal with them would put me behind on getting the Dread boxed in, and the land being uneven made this a very interesting box. It would have to be good enough for the moment though, as corrupted were beginning to pour in, but once I had a second of peace, I added another gate navigate to this open portion to seal it up. For some reason, during this dread defense, I wasn't getting any hearts out of any of the corrupted that I killed, or really any loot of any kind. I'm not sure if it's intentional or bugged, but regardless, we would get the dread tamed with little issue. I wasn't about to let this vein go to waste though, as I fired it up, mainly to see if I could farm hearts off of the corrupted that showed up for it, and thankfully I was able to. So apparently it's only when you're taming a dread. And so with that, I would spend the rest of the day just farming hearts as I defended the vein.
So far this way, we're doing good. Oh gosh, this Spino is cooking. It's on a mission to get killed.
I would finish the vein shortly into the next day. However, I still needed just a few more hearts. For some reason, I was convinced that I only had 2 at base instead of the 20, and so I farmed more than I actually needed.
There we go. We got 149.
Then when I returned to base, I decided to check on the dreads, and yeah, we might have a problem.
Not much. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to literally sit and snow out these things for like a day. We're not gonna have time to, yeah, there's no way we're gonna have time to actually level these at all.
Maybe an even bigger problem, I just realized I need a ton of pearls for making their saddles. And I'm gonna get out ahead of the comments on this one. Yes, I should have tamed some gachas that give pearls. I completely whiffed on that one. I was also short on metal for making them, but I would get all the metal I needed from just breaking down my behemoth gates. And then I desperately searched through my loot for anything that could be broken down into pearls. But finding nothing that could, I headed off to the desert biome to search for a moth, as I would need some silk to make a whip to do this the hard way. I just didn't realize I was choosing the strongest moth in the history of all moth kind.
I'm gonna lose this moth before I can kill it because it's just invincible. I lost it because I couldn't frost it.
Eventually I took it out, and then I used the silk to craft some whips, and I was off to the rivers of the snow biome to farm pearls. That is, if I could actually find any. Seriously, pearls in this game are the worst thing to find. I would locate a few eventually, but this just wasn't gonna cut it. So instead, I headed to a spot on the edge of the Forbidden Zone to farm raw silicate. Our primitive hatchet isn't the most efficient way to do this, but there are plenty of rocks in the area. Yeah, no, I went back to base and crafted some chainsaws. That hatchet was not cutting it. The chainsaw would definitely be faster, but surprisingly, it still doesn't really give more. Regardless, I continued doing this for some time until there was multiple gigas blocking me from heading up the path to more silicate. So I cleared out some remaining rocks off to the side and then headed home to prep for phase 3 of my pearl gathering plan.
Oh, of course I hit the freaking bear of all things. Of all the things to have accidentally clipped, I got a bear. Now it's a polar bear.
Phase 3 of the plan would be to bring out Pincushion, and honestly, I don't know if it's actually more efficient. But before we get too far into that, I had to first clear out some gigas with our big old chonkers. I was feeling so confident that I even began farming with the Yankee while the dreads fought off gigas. That is until one of them spawned in, basically right on top of me. Guys, help me! Team, help me!
Oh my gosh. Before we go too far, we just need to understand this Anki is not making it out of here alive.
Unfazed by this near-death experience, I continued farming as my dreads took out anything that dare mess with me, and before long, I had all the silicate I would need. So I returned home where I would find that I could only craft 5 of the 7 saddles I needed. But eventually I figured out that I was just a little bit short on fiber, and just like that, all of the saddles were crafting. So it's officially day 100, but our dreads still have a lot of healing to do before they're ready for the fight. In fact, I'm on my way to the snow biome right now to tame a Daedon to help with that. So we're not going to be finishing this fight on day 100. You can either side with my parents and consider me a complete failure, but I like to think I'm giving some bonus content. After searching for a while, I would find a level 95 and decided to just shoot it in the face while I tanked its attacks.
Hey, you punk, you can't hurt me. I'm too big.
Too big for you, son. 8 damage, that's all you got.
Ah, you suck. You can't even hit me. Oh, crap. Oh, wait, I'm wearing hazard gear. That's right. Forgot I'm not wearing my flak.
It took some of my gear with it, but eventually I had it on the run and knocked out. And just down the hill, I found a few Ovis who would give me the mutton needed to tame this piggy up, and then I spent the rest of the day just sitting around watching it tame. I mean, what else am I gonna do? The pig would finish taming, and I named it Overtime. Took it back to base to do its obvious task, and then the rest of the day was mostly spent just doing meat runs to keep our little piggy fed. The next day I did a little tag team healing effort with my Allen pig, and after leaving render a few times to keep refilling the pig's food, the last of my dreads were almost done healing. And with that, I was off to fight the King Titan, feeling very confident that my dreads alone were gonna take him down. All I planned to do was stay alive on my mana and make sure they're targeting the King Titan, and I would spread my dreads out around the arena to hopefully avoid them getting tangled up. But first, now that we have them out in the open, I needed to name them. I asked you all to give me some names, and this is what the spin wheel chose. Big Joe, Dread Not Like Us, Sin Lawson, Dollar Store Bronto, Tiny Tina, Tiny Tim, Tege Shisei, Donut, and Rylanor the Unyielding. So with that, all that was left to do was summon the Gamma King Titan.
Can 9 mildly not high level to begin with and moderately leveled primitive saddle Dreadnoughtus take on
the Gamma King Titan and come out victorious? Let's find out. So like I said, my plan was pretty simple. I was just gonna let my Dreadnoughtus do the work of taking down the King Titan, just going around on my mana to make sure they're still whistled onto it. If they attack him, there they go. They're pooping to get into it. Nobody's actually moving. Oh, now they are. Now they are. Get in there, boys. Let me make sure the other ones are actually even hitting him, because it doesn't look like they are. Oh, gosh. Oh, we're dead. We're dead. We are so dead. We're not going to be able to get there in time. We're so dead. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. We got caught once. We got caught once, and he killed us. Killed our Frostbite. Poor Frostbite. Poor Frostbite got caught once. Caught lacking one time. I can't whistle him. I can't whistle him. Or, come on, guys. Attack. Attack him, guys. Come on, guys. Hit him. We have to keep him from doing the mega attack. Oh, no. He's in the down position right now. This isn't the mega attack. I don't know how I'm alive. That's a good crazy that I'm still alive. That man sent our Mana Garmer to the Shadow Realm. I don't know if that's going to hurt me or just my tame, but I don't want to be... Yep, didn't want to be inside of it. Oh, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. Yep, so there you go. I died doing the King Titan. Now, luckily, on Extinction, you're able to respawn and come back to the fight because it lasts for like an hour or something like that. So I would just go back to base, get my Snow Owl, and we would head back to the fight again. Well, I think I would be seeing him here soon if he was still here, so we'll see. Oh, he's still there. He's still there. Get him, guys. Come on. Are they still attacking is the question, though. They look like they're going after him. They're just getting stuck on other stuff in the process. Oh, my gosh. Oh my God. That was so close. Get him, boys. A few of them are going. No! All right, we're not going to do this. We're not going to be able to do this, I don't think. They're going now. They are going. They're turning slowly, but they're still not really attacking. They're just getting stuck on his feet. They're just constantly getting stuck on his feet and not actually hitting him. Or they're not even trying to hit him. They're just getting stuck and not do. Yep, there they go. They're just not hitting. Oh, yeah, they're all dying now. They're all going down. Come on, guys. Get in there and hit him. There's so few of you left. They're just not hitting. This is... Alas, my Dreadnoughtus would fall one after another as they got stuck under the King Titan's feet and failed to do anything at all. Eventually, I would swoop in with my Snow Owl for a heroic ending, but it wouldn't last long, and our Snow Owl and myself would once again perish. Well, that did not go exactly how I had planned, to say the least. Maybe I should have brought something other than my mana to get around on something a little bit more tanky, but I feel like my guys were doing a decent amount of damage to him, at least for the first third of the fight. Either way, though, I still really enjoyed this map. I'd never played it on ASE, and I think this might be my new favorite map. I also hope you guys enjoyed watching me struggle through it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button on your way out, and subscribe so you won't miss the next video. With that said, I just want to tell you all thank you so much for being here today, checking out this video. And again, don't forget to download Raid Shadow Legends using either my link in the description or pinned comment, or by simply scanning the QR code on your screen. And until next time, keep it crispy.